Hello everyone, my name is Jacob Haas and welcome to my home lab project. Today I will be creating a simple SOC Analyst lab using Microsoft Azure, and I'm going to be setting up two virtual machines on one VNet. One of them will be a Kali box, the other will be a Windows Server 2022. And I'm going to be using Sliver C2 to create two attack scenarios, and then I'll be using LimaCharlie to detect and respond to these attacks. So the two attacks are going to be credential dumping and shadow copy deletion, which is a common tactic in a ransomware attack so that the victim cannot recover their files. So to get started, we are first going to create a virtual network. So we will click here and click create. I'm going to create a new resource group, SOC Lab. Give it a name and review and create. Okay, deploying in progress. Now we can go ahead and create our virtual machines. So first we'll do the Windows Server resource group SOC Lab. Oops. All right, Windows Server 2022 Azure Edition. Okay, that is good. I am going to select the D2 size because it is much faster. And then for the username, do my name. All right, and we will need to select some inbound ports. Okay. And then I will go ahead and go to networking, make sure we are on our new VNet. Okay. That looks good. And we will go ahead and create. All right. Now for our next virtual machine, we will do our Kali box. Kali for the name. And for this specific image, we will need to do the standard level of security. And we'll be using a SSH key to connect. So first let's create username, name the key. All right, and inbound ports, we'll need to select these two. Okay, let's check the networking. All right, looks good. Review and create. And we will need to download the private key to connect. There we go. All right. So a couple things we need to do on the Windows server before we add the LimaCharlie sensor is we need to disable some security mechanisms. So we'll connect to our machine, download the RDP file, open it. our password that we created. And let this boot up. Okay, first thing we need to do is we need to disable the antivirus. So to do this, we will just go to PowerShell and type this simple command. Disable real-time monitoring. And set this to true. All right. Now we will need to disable Windows Smart Screen. To do this, we'll just go to Group Policy Editor and we will go to Administrative Templates, Windows Components, and then find File Explorer. And we need to find Configure Windows Defender Smart Screen and disabled. All right, so after you have created a LimaCharlie account and created an organization, you will need to log on the Windows server, and we're going to add it as a sensor. So we'll go to Sensor List, Add Sensor, Windows Endpoint, select or create your new key, and we'll download the .exe installer. This. Okay. Oh, I'm not going to do that. We're going to go to the file location. Okay, it's in downloads. So now we will open up CMD, command prompt. You're going to go to downloads. All right, so the installer is here. I'm just going to copy this. And then we'll this. All right. And now our agent is installed. And then check, see if the sensor has been downloaded. All right, and there we go. There's our sensor. All right, now that we have LimaCharlie on our Windows server, we're going to download a Sliver on our Kali box. So first, we need to connect. To do this, we'll go SSH I. Then we will need to copy the path of our key. All right. Then our username and our public IP. Okay, we're in. Now, to download Sliver, we're going to use this command. You need to download the server and the client. On this. All right. Client. And then just name them. All right. And we are going to change the permission so these files can be executed. All right. Oh, whoops. Full file path. All right, there we go. All right, so now that we have Sliver downloaded, we will need to create a remote shell to the Windows server. So we will go ahead and start up Sliver. All right. First, we need to create an implant. So we will type generate HTTP and then our IP address. And we'll save it to this directory. Whoops. All right, and this will just take a second. All right, so now that we have our implant generated, we will need to use it to create the remote shell. So we're going to have to serve it over an HTTP connection. To do that, we'll go to the directory where we saved it. Let's make sure it's there. Okay. And then we'll use Python, start the HTTP server. All right. Now we're going to head back to our Windows machine, open up Microsoft Edge, and access the server. All right, there it is. We can click on that and download it. So now that we have our file downloaded, we'll go back to our Kali box, cancel the server, and start up Sliver again. All right. Now, to start the remote shell, we're going to have to start the HTTP listener, and we'll just type this command. Wait a second. All right, check the jobs. Okay. Now that that's started, we'll go back to our Windows machine and find the file we downloaded. And open. Run. So now if we go back, we will see the session has been created. And to use it, we'll type the use command and then the session ID. All right. So now we are in the Windows machine. So we'll type who am I? And yep, there we go. There's the username. Now to run the commands to complete the credentials dump, we will need elevated privileges. So to do that, we'll type the git system command and this will create a new session. All right, and now we can just use this new session. All right, there we go. We'll type who am I, make sure we have elevated privileges, and there is our system privileges. All right, now it is time to conduct the first attack. And this attack, as I said earlier, will be a credential dumping attack. To do this, we're going to access the LSASS process because this process commonly contains secrets or credentials. So to do this, we are going to dump the contents of its memory into a file. So first, we need to identify process ID. All right, 784. Now we will use this command to dump the contents into a file. So what this does is it uses this process, run DLL32. It takes the mini dump function from this DLL and it performs a process dump on this PID, which we will type. And it saves the file to this directory. Execute this. Then we can go back to our Windows machine and locate the file we just created. And there it is. Now, we're going to go to our LimaCharlie instance to detect and create an alert. So we'll go to our Windows server. Let's go to the timeline to see if we can find an event for this command. Narrow this down. Make sure. We will go type. All right, and here is our alert, or not an alert, but an event. Go to this event here. So what we're going to do, copy this event. Now, for our rule logic, I'm going to delete this, and you're going to use. Now what this does is it searches for the sensitive process access event. Make sure that the file path ends with lsass.exe, and make sure that the command line contains minidump. And then it makes sure that the file path does not end with this specific process because this will create a lot of false positives. Now, for our response rule, action port. Okay. Now what we can do is we're going to test the event or test the rule and make sure it works. Target event, since we already have the event copied, we can just here. Oh, whoops, actually, not have it copied. So I will have to. Test event. As we can see, all of the conditions were triggered and the rule worked. Okay, so now that we have our rule, well, first we need to Okay, save. All right, so now we're going to go back, tally box, and execute the command. Command execute. We can go to our LimaCharlie instance, and we will go detections. Our alert is right here. We can see it alerted from the sensitive process access, gives you some more information, and that is it. We successfully identified and responded to our first attack.